It seems like this thing between Nintendo and Palworld is only going to get worse as the year progresses. And a lot of people feel like Nintendo is being petty with these recent takedowns in relation to fan-made merchandise of Palworld stuff, but at the same time, I mean, the Palworld characters do look like eerily similar to something you would see in Pokemon. And I think Nintendo feels like Power World in of itself, I wouldn't say necessarily the concept, but the designs of the creature infringes on their intellectual property rights. And the thing is, Power World is a game that's highly profitable. It's making a lot of money. And I don't think that fares too well for the developer Pocket Fear Inc. because um the amount of players that they have reached since its release back in January, it's actually a lot higher than a lot of people would have expected because I think it's reached over 7 million players. And it's one of those things where if Power World didn't become as popular as it did, Nintendo probably would have done nothing and they probably would have let it slide. But they're making a lot of money off it, and they're just like, hey, you know what? Some of that belongs to us or whatever, because you kind of took our idea and you put your own spin on it and you ran with it, and basically you're profiting off of it. So I kind of get why Nintendo's upset, but at the same time, this is going to piss a lot of Power World fans off because a lot of people like it that we have like a Pokemon-esque game for various other game systems. And the thing is, Pokemon for the most part has always been like a Nintendo exclusive. Power World, you could play this on the Xbox Series X, the Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. So basically, Power World is the Xbox version of Pokemon for the most part. And for the most part, it seemed like this game had a bright future up until recently, because I'm not exactly sure what Nintendo is going to do to the developers of Power World, because I mean they're already going after the fans. So what can we expect, from what can we expect from Nintendo in the future? And the thing is, Nintendo just came off of having a really successful year in 2023 with the Super Mario Brothers movie and Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and just all the success that they've had. And it seems like this is how they're going to start the year off. And it's kind of on a sour note for that matter. And I don't think they have too many high profile video games that's supposed to be coming out this year that I know of. We're waiting for the Switch 2, which is expected to appear in 2025, and we're not getting it this year. And a lot of people, including myself, are kind of pissed about that. But as far as the whole Power World controversy is concerned, I do feel that by doing this, Nintendo is pretty much just alienating fans and potential fans of theirs and of Pokemon and all that, because Nintendo has a large fan base around the world. And some people would agree that they're justified in what they're doing in terms of taking down fan made merchandise of Power World. Others feel like it's just them being petty. Um, there are people who are on both sides of the spectrum in relation to this whole thing, but hopefully this doesn't turn into anything ugly, and it doesn't ruin the reputation of either Nintendo or the makers of Power World. And people can just play whatever they want, enjoy themselves and all that stuff. But I think the issue was fans making merchandise of for Power World and profiting off of that, when Power World, arguably infringed on Nintendo's intellectual property rights. I think that's kind of the issue. And Nintendo know they can take action towards the fans, more so than they can, developers of Power World. It's easier to just issue takedowns and all of that. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of a surprising way to start off 2024. And hopefully this gets resolved and settled, and a very peaceful manner. It doesn't become a big deal or anything like that. Like with with like Microsoft and the FTC, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal or anything like that. But at the same time, like Nintendo's had their issues too in relation to dealing with fans and consumers and all that stuff. And I feel like for the most part, like in the past year, Nintendo's had more good things, going for them than they did bad things happening to them. And hopefully 2024 and 2025 are going to be positive years for Nintendo, but that's something I can't necessarily promise or predict or anything like that. But yeah, Nintendo's not happy about what fans are doing with their quote unquote intellectual property, and they just want fans to stop trying to find ways to profit off of that, and I guess that's reasonable. But hopefully this is something that doesn't, turn people off to Nintendo or make people like despise Nintendo. And even if it does, Nintendo normally appeals to children and casuals who really don't know like some of the controversial stuff that they've been involved in and all that stuff. Young adults are more attracted towards Sony and Microsoft products and any like third party like developer games and stuff like that. They're young adults are more attracted to that type of stuff. And even though like Palworld's a pretty cool game and whatever, some people feel like it's going to be one of those titles that it's going to have like a certain level of popularity for like a year or two, and then like after that it's probably just gonna fade away into obscurity. But that's something that nobody can really predict. But I do feel that people should enjoy Pal World, while it's still a thing, because depending on like what turn this whole issue between Nintendo and the developers of this game, like depending on like what kind of turn it takes and how things go from here on out, um, it's just like, Power World may not be around for too long, and if it is, it could eventually be easily be forgotten. And I do feel that Nintendo should like do everything in their power to try and resolve this in a way that doesn't necessarily bring a lot of heat on them, and at the same time not piss off like all the Power World fans, and I guess turn casuals away from them either.